Have you ever had a neighbor who just seems to have it out for you? You know, the one who measures your lawn with a ruler or complains if your trash can is an inch too far to the left. Well, imagine that neighbor has the power of an entire homeowners association behind them. That's the nightmare one Texas surgeon found himself living in. But this isn't just a story about petty squabbles. It's a tale of epic revenge that would make even the most seasoned movie villain take notes. Our story begins in the quiet, upscale neighborhood of Garden Oaks in Houston, Texas. A successful surgeon, let's call him Dr. H, decided to build his dream home there. He bought a plot of land and, like any good neighbor, submitted his architectural plans to the local HOA for approval. Everything seemed fine. The plans were approved, and construction began on a beautiful, modern home for his family. But as the walls went up, so did the tension. A few of the longtime residents, who were also on the HOA board, started to get a little particular. They didn't like the modern design of Dr. H's new house. They felt it didn't fit the neighborhood's traditional vibe. Suddenly, the same HOA that had approved his plans started to fight him at every turn. They nitpicked every detail, from the color of his window frames to the type of stone he used. They'd show up at the construction site, harassing the workers and looking for any tiny violation they could find. It got personal. One neighbor, a key member of the HOA board, seemed to make it his mission to stop the construction. He would allegedly trespass on the property to take pictures and document supposed infractions. The HOA sent a barrage of violation letters, threatening fines and legal action. Dr. H was baffled. He had followed all the rules. He had gotten everything approved. Yet, here he was, locked in a battle with a handful of neighbors who had weaponized the HOA against him. The situation escalated into a full-blown legal war. The HOA sued Dr. H, trying to force him to halt construction and tear down parts of his home. Dr. H, a man who spends his days performing delicate surgeries, now had to spend his nights and weekends battling a lawsuit over his own house. The legal fees started piling up, reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was a stressful, expensive, and emotionally draining ordeal for him and his family. He just wanted to build a home, but instead, he was fighting for his right to live in the neighborhood. Most people would probably give up. They'd sell the property, cut their losses, and move somewhere far, far away from any HOA. But Dr. H was not most people. He was a surgeon, a man of precision, patience, and determination. He realized he wasn't just fighting for his house. He was fighting against an abuse of power, and he decided that if the HOA wanted a war, he was going to finish it. So, Dr. H fought back in court, and he won. The judge sided with him, ruling that the HOA had acted improperly and that his house could be completed. It was a major victory. The construction finished, and his family finally moved into their beautiful new home. For a moment, it seemed like the story was over. The good guy had won, and the bullies had been put in their place. But for Dr. H, the victory felt incomplete. He had won the battle, but the enemy, the HOA itself, still existed. The same people who had caused him so much grief were still in charge, free to harass the next person who dared to build a slightly different-looking house. And that's when Dr. H came up with a plan. It wasn't a plan for a lawsuit or a complaint. It was a plan of such breathtaking audacity that it belongs in a hall of fame for epic revenge. He thought, what is the source of the HOA's power? The power comes from the properties it governs. If you control the properties, you control the HOA. So, he started buying them. One by one, whenever a house in the neighborhood went up for sale, Dr. H made an offer. He didn't need to live in these houses. He just needed to own them. He bought the house next door, then the one across the street. He bought fixer-uppers, pristine mansions, and everything in between. His real estate portfolio in Garden Oaks started to grow. First, one house, then 2, then 5, then 10. The other residents, including the HOA board members who had tormented him, watched in confusion and then growing alarm. The man they had tried to run out of the neighborhood was now, piece by piece, buying it. Each house he purchased gave him another vote in the HOA. Remember that neighbor who was his chief antagonist? Dr. H eventually bought the house right next door to him, just for good measure. He wasn't loud or flashy about it. He just quietly kept acquiring properties. With each purchase, his power within the HOA grew, while the power of the old guard diminished. He was playing the long game, using the very rules of property ownership that the HOA was built on to systematically dismantle it from the inside. It was a masterclass in strategic thinking. After several years and millions of dollars invested, the moment finally came. Dr. H had acquired enough properties to hold a majority of the votes in the homeowners association. He had become the single most powerful person in the neighborhood. He could have become the new HOA president and ruled with an iron fist, getting revenge by imposing all sorts of ridiculous rules on the very people who had wronged him. He could have fined them for the color of their mailboxes or the height of their grass, but he didn't. He didn't want to become the monster he had fought. He wanted to kill the monster. So, he called a meeting. The remaining members of the old HOA board, his former nemesis, had to sit there as Dr. H, the man they tried to crush, stood before them holding all the cards. With his majority vote, he made a single motion to dissolve the homeowners association. Permanently. There was nothing they could do. He had the votes. With one final, decisive move, he completely disbanded the organization that had caused him and his family so much stress and money. The Garden Oaks HOA ceased to exist. The rules, the regulations, the violation notices, the petty tyrants they were all gone. He single-handedly freed the entire neighborhood from HOA oversight. The story became a legend among those who have ever felt powerless against an overbearing HOA. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the best way to fight a broken system isn't to work within it, but to be it, and then shut it down. Dr. H didn't just build his dream house. He ensured that everyone in his neighborhood could live in their homes without the fear of a neighbor with a grudge and a rule book. He spent millions, not just for revenge, but for peace. And in doing so, he became a hero to homeowners everywhere. What do you think? Was this the most epic revenge story you've ever heard? Or did he go too far? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more incredible true stories. See you next time.